Alrighty, welcome back. I'm your man, Bad Chad. Queen Jolene's on the camera, and we got Doug inside the car.
Standing up.
Yeah, standing up. We've got it flintstoned, and what we have done, we've cut everything out of the car whatsoever. Doug just got the steering wheel in the back.
Yeah, it's all good.
We've cut everything out of the car, basically, that was rusty, and we cut a little bit more. I want to try to explain it, how we're going to do this without, you know, if you had to do it to your car, which I know there's a lot of people have got old cars with the floor that is no good and missing, and you want to fix it. And the reason being is you do not like it, but that's what we're going to do here. We're going to fix the whole thing. If we come on whatever side Jolene wants to come in and take a look at, Doug, if you want to point to your side, we're going to point to Doug's side because it's the easiest side to point at from Jolene's perspective. On the inside of the car, on the where Doug's pointing there, all that sill place, all that metal from front to back has to be ground off so it's flat. And the reason we're going to grind it off so it's flat is what we're going to do is we're not going to step on the sills of the car. Right now I'm thinking that the car is quite strong. It's strong because we got the roof on it. It's can't go this way because the roof's on it. We're hooked together in the back so we can't open up. The dash is in it. It's hooked up in the front. It can't spread anywhere. Although you should be checking all the time. It's not going down because we've got it mounted over top of the wheel well. We've got a mount up front that it's not letting it go down. We're lucky with that.
Doors shut nice.
Doors shut nice, but to get started, to fix the floor, we have to weld something to the car to get started. Where that is all like this, we want to flatten that all off nice. We got to dig all this out of here to the wheel well, or the wheel well, dig all that out. We're even going to dig this out, but basically what we want to do is we want to make a straight line from here all the way down up here to the front post so we can run a piece of 1-inch square stock. So what we'll do is we'll come in here. We're gonna cut this out of here. And the reason being is we've got a mount that's right here that's rotted off. We're not going to try to fix that. There's not much sense in trying to fix that. Now we got a mount over here that's rotted off. We're not going to fix that. We're just going to replace it. So we're going to probably end up cutting this off. But we're going to get a piece of square stock. We're going to get this cleaned off. We're going to run it straight through all the way up into the front post here. We are not connecting it to the outside sill. We're not going to do that because the sills are going to get it replaced. That sill is a pattern. That sill is to hold it in place. That sill is to keep it intact, basically. But we're going to get a piece of square stock from here. We're going to weld the square stock to this piece and this front post up here. And then it's on to doing the exact same thing on that one. Cleaning that off, running a straight line, and getting a piece of square stock, weld it to the back quarter panel up to the front post. The rocker panels are not getting connected because they are getting replaced. So that would be the first step in my eyes to get this thing rock and rolling, get it started to where we're going. The tunnel is obviously right here. We are going to cut more of the tunnel out, and we're going to run square stock again. We're going to cut this out here. We're going to cut this off because we've got a mount here that's rusty. Well, there's no sense of trying to fix that. We are inside the car, and we are going to make it new. I mean, we basically got it tore out. This is our chance to do what we need to do to make it look good. So anything that's rusty, we're going to cut it out. Cut the head off that bolt. We'll pull the mounts out of it so it looks clean like that. We're going to come up here. We're going to cut this off all the way across here, something nice and straight. Pulls that out, and then we can see that back mount. What I'm thinking is we're going to probably end up square stock from here along this metal. We'll do a nice job, clean it all up. We'll put a nice piece of square stock running all the way across from wheel well to wheel well. And then we'll start making a cage to do what we need to get done. When we have square stock welded over here on this part, going to the front, and we have square stock weld that part front, then we can start crossing square stock. Then we got something to weld the square stock to to give us our mounts. You know, if we don't have anything over there to weld to, how are we going to fix that and connect that? Also, with the tunnel, we'll have square stock running from here, both sides, as wide as we need it to do what we need to do, running back to the square stock. It's kind of we're going to put square stock in it. Wherever it looks good and wherever it works is what we're going to do. But we have to have something to connect to. And if we start lining it with square stock, then we can start putting cross members in it. You obviously can see that we can, if we have square stock running from the back to the front, I'll do it if we have square stock running from the back to the front, then we have something to weld square stock to go hit the mounts. And then when we come over here, we'll be able to hit the square stock running for the tunnel. So we're just kind of, we'll put one piece at a time, and then as we get going, we'll know where we have to put everything by the car. It's dictating where we have to put it. We'll know where we have to put the tunnel because we can see it. We'll know where we have to put the cross members because we'll know when we're going to see it. We'll know basically everything. When we put the square stock in for this inside part running to the front, then we have something to connect the inside sill to. We put quarter panels on it. You can see the quarter panel where I still have to put some paint on that or put some seam sealer on that where I weld the bottom up. When I put the square stock from here all the way up to there, and we put a new rocker panel on it, I have a place to connect the rocker panel to the square stock. I also have a place to run the inside sill, because when this square stock comes in, I have to run a piece of metal from here down to do that inside sill. So that closes the sill in, or the rocker panel. So basically everything that we put inside the car is so we can do something with it. And the very first piece is from the back wheel well, back quarter panel, connected up to the front post. That's the very first piece that we want to get in. There's a lot of trimming that we have to do to get that, but that's basically where you start. We got to tear it all apart and then put it all back in. This right here is nothing that, to be honest with you, that anybody couldn't do, is to clean out a car like this. Take your time, clean it all out. Try not to rip your lines up and tear your brake lines and rip your brake lights out and that sort of stuff. Don't do that. Take your time, get it cleaned out, and get it started and start going. And then as you get it going, each piece will let you know where it's got to go and where to go with it. So what I'm going to do first, it's going to be a simple matter. It's going to be a matter of making a straight line. I might as well make Doug's line first. It's on his side. Where we have this, we want that square stock right hard up against that to weld to that. We want square stock hard up to weld it. We're making the piece. I'm not sure if that's a piece welded on there from factory or it's a piece that someone else put in there. Not really sure. We will find out though. As I run that in there, I know this has got to be cut back, because we want nothing to interfere with our square stock running from front to back. This piece does not matter if it touches the square stock or not. We don't even want it to touch it, but I want to be able to run it straight from the wheel well. So we need to trim. We need to get this trimmed out, that little piece there trimmed out. Not cut the wheel well, but trim that piece out so we can go all the way back to it. That seems like a nice piece of metal there turned up, but it wants to be cut off right along there somewhere, you know what I mean?
You're butting it right up against that wheel well.
Yeah, if we can. And then we're cutting it off straight all the way along there, cutting that all off straight. We're cutting, I just made a line. We're cutting this back here, because when we go to put that square stock on, we don't want that to hit it and hold it out. It's just going to be an issue.
You know, it's this way. You want to go from here?
We'll just cut here.
Right.
We don't want to go up in that post. I want to go underneath that post if we can. So we'll stop it there and we'll go up underneath that post.
Excellent.
Hopefully we can get it connected to this piece here also. get it up underneath there and weld it along this piece and this piece to close that up.
Yep.
And we'll cut this across here and we'll try to go underneath and clean it up. But we want a piece of squared from there, straight right up to there. And probably try to get it right up into there if we can.
Good idea, yeah.
And then we can clean this up, weld this up. And then we can weld this mount on the side of it. We have to fix this mount yet on this side. On the other side, we do not have to fix the mount, but we still have to clean it up. Probably going to end up cutting the bolt out of it, put a new bolt in it. No doubt in my mind. Then I have to do the exact same thing to the other side. So me and Doug have major amounts of cleaning to do and not putting pressure on it. So we don't want to step on that. Don't want to step on that. We want to keep it in place as long as we can, but we have to clean this all off all the way along. This metal does not have to be cleaned, it just has to be cut back. We are not connecting this back to the square stock. We are just keeping this here to keep it in place. It would be nice to go boom, boom, cut it off, but I'm not interested in doing that in case something falls. Alrighty, you can either sand it back. This cut, I'd say, would be zip cut back. And you also, Doug, you can zip cut on this side of the line if you want to.
Sure, yeah. Just
give it a little bit more. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. It doesn't even matter. This sill is not staying, so I'm just going to cut it back wherever I feel. I'll get this cut back here, so this is nice and flush and flat on that. I'm going to cut that. All right, and that's what we're going to do. All the glass, you got to be really careful on this one. The front glass is already broken. We're going to replace the front glass, but we've got all the back covered up. It's still in place. If anything's not in place, Doug, just give it a touch. Seems to be all right. So now we're going to start cutting that piece out to get some square stock put in there. Doug, if you want to go for that, let's do it. You do your side and I'll do this side. How's that? You want that, or what do you want?
Which one you don't want is the one I take.
Jolene went and bought me a new grinder.
She did.
She did.
Isn't that nice?
Huh?
Where's mine? I got it right here, right?
When she starts buying new grinders, I'm going to start asking questions.
But I said please.
Oh, and these, you know, I always get a lot of grief on the guards, but in all honesty, the guards only allow a 4.5-inch zip cut on there, and I use 5-inch zip cuts, 6-inch zip cuts. How am I supposed to use them if I haven't got a big enough circular area? But
yeah, really.
I don't even know how to get this one off. They probably got it so I can't get it off. Wow. Not sure. Alrighty. You've got your rock and roll, and you got gloves, Doug, and your glasses and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put a grinder disc on this thing, or a zip cut, and start zinging.
Start zinging.
I got a 4-inch right there, 4.5, so I'll use it for now. And then when it gets on my nerves, I'll change it. So when you get doing something like this, try to keep it in place somewhat. I mean, don't just cut all the rockers out of it and start going that way. Cut it back as far as you can, and then get it squared up with some square stock and make a plan. It'll tell you what needs to be welded and what needs to go where as you get going. It will. One piece at a time, it'll tell you. You can go ahead, Doug, if you like.
Excellent.
I really like that I'm cutting and that the sparks are flying around this guard. I really like it. But I can't see.
I like the guard today.
I can't see nothing. Can't see where I'm cutting. I'm not on the line. Cannot see anything. Baby said waffle. Why do you say waffle? Triple. Double sow cow. Triple sow cow. The guard is getting in my way of cutting out what I want to get. I want to cut that out, and that guard is in my way of cutting out anything that I want to cut out there. That's where it's at for me. I apologize, but I'm not teaching good things. But in order for me to get cut out what I need to get cut out, that guard is going to get taken off.
Yeah, I've had it.
I have not got. I have not got the metal that I want to use on this project. Me and Jolene are going to have to run and go get it. But as you can see, as I put this in here, you can see it goes right back to the wheel well. And that'll come, we'll get a piece come right up to the right front post here. Or right up to the front post. We'll have a piece come in there and locked in there and get it somewhere tight and right. This piece is not long enough, so that'll come right along from there. All the way back there. So we'll weld that to the side of that. We'll bring that right up in here somewhere. When we get that square stock, then we have a place to weld the inside sill to, down to the outside rocker. Then we have a nice strong piece of metal to weld cross members to go across. And wherever there's a mount right there, there's a mount back there, wherever we want to roll. And then when we get the tunnel square stock going, we know where to run the square stock to over to the tunnel. So it's basically, what can I say? It's a simple thing once you get going, but to think about cutting all your floor to your car, you would think, wow, that's overdoing it. But in actual fact, we will have a better floor than if we did it like the trunk. We will have something brand new. Also, when we start doing the square stock thing, we want to cover up, oops, Jolene's going for a trip. We want to cover up the edge of the metal where it comes together by hitting it on the middle of the square stock. So every panel that we make, we'll hit it on the center of the square stock. That way there you will not see where the metal comes together. When you get up and look underneath the car, you'll see a brand new skeleton with brand new metal. You will not see metal cut out and metal replaced. It doesn't, when you cut metal out sometimes and try to replace it in your floor pans, if you've ever got underneath and took a look, it doesn't look that good.
Yeah, it looks
so
ugly.
basically what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to, we're going to eliminate that look. And when you look underneath the car, it's going to look bad. We're going to put a brand new floor in it, and we need some square stock to do it. But basically, the cleaning is the beginning. So we'll just go ahead from there. You can see how that would be a start. Still have to do some digging in around the wheel well and get that done. But basically, that's what's going on. We're going to cut this off, Doug. But I want it straight. Mm-hmm. I want it straight, right across. I don't know if I want a ruler or what, but I want to go straight across. And what I want, and the reason I want to run straight across there, I thought about before, we had this piece of metal in the back, but it's got them two rusty mounts. Right there. And I'm not willing to try to fix that. Not willing. If there's a bunch of work that has to be done here, I'm going to simplify it. This piece all turned down into the floor. I'm not going to worry about that. We'll make our own. And that's got to come off around here. We're going to keep that wheel well in section. And what we'll do, we'll come straight across there. I want to be able to weld a piece of square stock across there, if you know what I'm trying to say, Doug.
Yes,
so I'd
sir.
like to have it straight. If you know what I'm saying. And then you can cut this down through here. Keep the wheel well part. We'll get this trimmed off.
Yeah.
We're going to get all this stuff trimmed off here.
Yeah.
We've got to get this stuff trimmed off so it's nice and flat. And then we'll go for our own. Doug's got his all cut back. I'd take the flapper wheel with 36 grit, maybe try to clean that up a bit, I'm not sure.
It's a bit ugly,
And
isn't it?
that there might come off. That's bronzed on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's got gold.
Gold in her.
There's gold there.
Golden Savoy.
The golden Savoy.
She's the Golden Savoy.
All right.
Hopefully it cleans up nice.
I'm going to let you cut that off.
Okay.
And deal with that and clean that up. You can do both. Clean that up the best you can so we can weld something to it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Sure, no problem.
Just be careful of the rockers and that stuff. Do you want a ruler to draw that across there? Or a ruler?
That line's fine. I can definitely go by your line.
Keep it this way a little bit then.
Yeah, all right.
You know what I mean?
Sure, no
And
problem.
try to keep it straight going across there if possible.
Yeah.
Because basically we're just going to put a piece of square stock underneath that and just weld it to it and then go from there.
Yeah, nice straight, eh?
Well, something that works. Awesome, you do that.
Your line looks fairly straight. I'll go with that for sure.
Just leave it though, like leave my line there and make it a little bit long.
Sure thing,
That'd
man.
be fantastic.
Sure thing, man.
All right, that's what we're doing inside there. Also, you notice that we have been stripping some paint. Just a sec, Doug, I'll explain this and then I'll let you go.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no worries.
I'll just
We've been
jump in
stripping
there.
some paint off the car, and the reason we're going to strip the paint off the car because we want to know where we're at. Everything has been blistering and just doing, the stuff that bodywork does.
Got some gold here.
Yeah, I like that gold.
I like
actually.
that gold too.
I like that gold. A little bit of
Adds character.
it does. But anyways, as we're stripping this off, what I'm using is the grinder with a grinder pad.
I put it over here.
Yeah.
Me clean it up again.
Using a bunch of different tools I am. And the reason being is it's paint and I want to get it off as quick as possible. So I'm going to take this pad off and we'll put a new one on.
You haven't got many
That's
of
the
these
pad
ones
there,
left.
yeah.
You haven't got many of those left, do you?
No, I'm using them, the new ones there you had on the floor. I am using them. Usually I'll use a 36 grit on these flapper discs, but I do not have any more left. The man that gave me a bunch was awesome. We're using them up like candy. But this one here, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I'll show you how we're taking the paint off. You think that you would never want to take and sandblast the fenders and the doors with it full of paint. You would never want to do that. Basically what I'm thinking is that you would want to sand it off. That's the best way to get paint off your car. If you want to sandblast, well then you're generally sandblasting inside construction, like the inside of the doors, all around the bottom of the doors, all inside here you sandblast.
All those tight corners.
Anything that's got rigid metal, to use our big sandblaster that we have and stick it on the outside of the door, you'd really want to be on an angle and know what you're doing, flashing it around, because if not, you're going to end up with a panel that's no good to you anymore. How many shows have we watched that comes back and the hood's ruined? Well, generally do not want to sandblast a hood or a front of a door or a trunk lid or anything like that with just the sheet of metal. You want to strip it by sanding it. You can destroy your car with that kind of disc. You can, if you're not doing it right. Start stripping edges like this, you'll burn the edge of it off and you'll end up making it thin. Do not strip anything with an edge with those 36 or flapper wheels. Do not do that. Doug's got the tool right there that he stripped the edge on the other side. You got the little plastic stripper wheel.
Very well for stripping paint.
You can see on this side how Doug come along and stripped the paint off the fender with the stripper wheel.
And a drill.
And it just kind of stripped it off nice. It didn't take away from anything. It just stripped it. So we're on to the hood. You would never sandblast the hood. You would never do that unless you're looking for trouble. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flapper disc and I'm going to take some paint off it. And as soon as I hit metal, I'm going to get out of there, because we're going to end up sanding the rest of it off or using the SCT contour. We'll go to that next. We'll take a little bit of paint off, show you what I'm going to do. Now, I've hit metal already. This hood has been stripped. This hood hasn't got what the rest of the car has on it. The rest of the car had blue paint. I'm hitting the metal there quite something. But that sander right there, we'll just do a little bit, and then I'll make it look like I want to. As far as I want to go with that, and I want to hold that flat, and I want to keep it moving fast. I do not want to angle it, tip it in any way, because I'll end up destroying something. You want to turn the air on, Doug? That'd be excellent. Thank you very much. So now I have a 40 grit on an 8-inch orbital. That's basically what I like to strip the cars with. This orbital sander will also get your car ready for primer, filler, anything you want to put on it. But basically, I do not want to take it any further than that with that wheel there. This 40 grit is probably dull as all get out because I've been using it. But let's strip some paint off. You can see how I've got it scratched up there with that flapper wheel. When I use this 40 grit, I will take that out of it. Paper's too dull, I'm going to change it. It's been on there for a while, so this is how I like to change it, so I do not ruin my pad on my 8-inch orbital. Put a little heat to it. Doug's got me a new one. He's on cue this morning, boy. He's on cue this morning. Dougie rolled down on his motorbike this morning.
Nice cool drive to work.
I appreciate Doug's help. Comes in and helps me all the time. Appreciate it. All the time, whenever he can. Now, put this bad boy on there. This is a 40 grit. See, you got a 40 written on top of it. 8-inch. Now, I don't need the gloves to use this machine. On this hood where I use that flapper wheel, I will use the flapper wheel on all of the top of it and some are down here. I will not get down in here with it. See that down there? All I'm going to do is get in trouble with that thing because I'm going to have to, I can't lay it flat. I will get in trouble with it down in there. I'll end up cutting something, digging something. So I do not go down in there with that. I go down in there with the stripper wheel that Doug had on the drill, or I go down in there with this.
Bit more gentle.
That thing right there is only used in flat areas. I will sand it with this until I get the metal looking pretty clean. Then I'll go to the FCT Contour Eastwood machine and then we'll clean it off the rest of the way. But basically, stripping a car is mostly sandpaper. And as I get stripping this hood, it'll all get stripped with sandpaper, and the reason being is there's no paint on it compared to this. There's a little bit of filler in it, yes there is, but this thing is peeling that paint off super easy, so I would stick with this to strip the hood. So that, I'm not going to use that no more, but that's what I did on the side of the car to get the paint off. It had a lot more paint than the hood. Get it that far with that. Paper's still good and sharp. This has got the exact same plastic wheel on it that Doug's drill head on it, exact same thing. This makes a lot of noise, but what doesn't make noise in this business? I like to use this machine all one way. Don't get me wrong, I'm using it this way and that way. But once I get it cleaned off, then I'll go back to making it look pretty by going all one way. So I get it stripped off, however I need to do it, and then I will make it look like something. So basically I'm just going in here and getting that paint off in there and going this way because I can, or it's working the best. And then in the end, I'll turn it around and go this way to make it look good. That's how I'll do that, make that straight. I want to thank everybody for coming back. We really appreciate it. We'll just wait a second. Doug has actually relieved the back of the floor. You got that all cut out, Doug?
Yeah, you want to reach in here and grab it?
Yeah, good. There's another piece of the puzzle. You know, when you look underneath the car and you see that, you know, it looks somewhat like that, you can't, it's hard to see way up in the back side of that, where that mount is rotted off. Hard to see way up in there. You'd have to, you know, be a ventriloquist, or I don't know, what's that called when you move your body? I don't think he's a ventriloquist, but whatever.
I don't bend that way.
Contortionist.
There you go.
That's what it is, a contortionist.
I was hoping you'd find the right word, make it funny.
So basically that's where we're at with that. We're going to continue on. Looks good, cut that off good. Now we're cleaning all the rest of that up. But what we're going to do is, Doug's going to clean the rest of that up to be able to apply some square stock, and we will show that when we start applying it, but I don't know if you want to watch us prepare it. The hood will be stripped because that's what, you know, we'll be doing. There'll be 2 people going at it. But I want to thank everybody for coming back and watching. We appreciate that. Throw in a like or a comment or a share, or say if you can do it or not. Do you think you could do what we're doing? And when we're done, you will say yes, I guarantee it. When you're doing your hood and your fenders and stuff like that, sand that paint off. Do not sandblast it, sand it off. Use a coarse grit. If you're scratching it up quite heavy, grinding it with a grinder, you can ruin your panels. You can, but hold it flat and be cool about it. Me and Jolene are going to go get some metal so we can have something to work with. I'm hoping Doug's going to clean what we need to get cleaned, and we'll be back. Come back tomorrow and you'll get to see us start this bad boy. It won't take long to frame it up, but we need material to work with, and that's what we're going to get. All right, everybody. Like, share, comment, come back, subscribe, do whatever you like to make yourself happy.